Welcome back to the channel, everyone. So today I'm going to be doing a video on Marvel Champions and Arkham Horror, the card game. So this is I titled it Marvel Champions versus Arkham Horror LCG. So these are the two most popular living card games that are out right now, and I want to do a video on more for people, more for like if you're looking to buy an LCG, which one would best suit you. Like I said, I think these are the two best ones out there. There's other ones out there as well as Lord of the Rings. I don't care for Lord of the Rings. These are, to me personally, these are the two best. So in this video, I'll be discussing what goes on in Marvel Champions and in Arkham Horror, the card game, and which one I actually like the most. Again, both of these games are 10 out of 10s for me. They're in my top 10 games of all time. I think Arkham Horror made it number 11 this year, or was it 10? I forgot. But they're both up there. So I'll be going into a little bit what each does, by positive and negatives with each, and also what I think is the best one. And then at the end, just see which one will best suit you. So first and foremost, the first thing I'm going to say is these are both very expensive games. Again, the base copy, you could probably get a base copy of Marvel Champions for around $45, maybe cheaper. The new Arkham Horror, the card game, will run you around between $50 and $60 because it has all those expansions and everything in it. So back when this first came out, each expansion had about like 3 scenarios, and then you would have to buy several scenarios that were released weekly or so. But now they're releasing every single expansion with all the scenarios for Arkham Horror. So that's a good thing what Arkham Horror is doing. But Marvel Champions, I know they're coming out with a new expansion this year, but what they do is they'll release an expansion, and then you'll have to buy more heroes and other side scenarios that are in there as well. Again, each expansion, I want to say, has about maybe 3 or 4 scenarios for Marvel Champions. They're on expansion number, the last one was Mutant Genesis, so they're with X-Men right now. I think they're still continuing X-Men. I think this might be so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this might be the 4th or 5th expansion that's coming out this year. So let's go over Marvel Champions first, how that plays. So in Marvel Champions, you're going to pick a villain, and you're going to pick a hero, whatever you want. This plays 1 to 4. So each player, or you can play it solo, will pick a hero, and they each have their own deck. And you're just going to be fighting off against this villain. They're going to have a scheme that's going to keep getting stronger as the more you progress throughout the battle. Now, you lose either by when there's too much threat on a scheme, or if your character's health is brought down to 0. So, you know, each character has their own set of hand limit, has a certain amount of defense, thwart, which removes threat from the scheme, and their attack bonus. Throughout the game, you get certain allies that are in your deck, power-ups also, just to help fight the villain, and hopefully bring the villain's health down to 0. And they just keep getting stronger as the game progresses. As you beat their first part, they're gonna get stronger, and sometimes they'll release more schemes, more enemies out with them. So that's pretty much how Marvel Champions plays. Now, the positives for me on Marvel Champions is it's very thematic. If you are a Marvel fan, I think you're going to fall in love with this game. It is absolutely amazing. It's a reason why it's in my top 10 of all time. I have a blast every time I play it. Again, if you are a Marvel fan, it has everything you need that in this box. It is Marvel in a box. Also, you know, there's a wide array of heroes that are out there right now. The base game itself has Iron Man, Spider-Man, She-Hulk, Black Panther, Captain Marvel. Now, Black Panther and She-Hulk, you have to build the deck yourselves. But again, there's certain cards out there that come in the box, and then with future expansions that you can add to those decks, depending on which hero you feel more comfortable playing with. It's very simple to do. So like each hero, so somebody like Black Panther is more for protection. He usually has a protection deck, so you mix protection cards in there, or however you feel fit. So that's another thing I like about this game. It's very easy to build a deck for a hero. So you don't have to have the deck that comes in the box or the expansion. You can always change it up how best you feel. Another thing is, this is a hard game. You know, even the base villain, Rhino, which a lot of people, they suggest that you play first against Rhino, and it took me a while to beat him. But again, it just keeps getting harder with the expansions. You know, Thanos is really tough. Ronan, I still think, is one of the toughest, if not the toughest out there. Ultron is pretty badass in this. But it's just a lot of fun. I always like bringing it back to the table, win or lose. You know, you still have a great time with this game, and the fact that it just keeps growing. You know, I look forward to seeing what they come out in the future. What I also don't really like, again, each expansion has like a storyline in the rule book. They're not really that interesting. You know, it just tells you how to set up against this villain, and you just play against it. To me, that's the most fun. I don't care much about the storyline that's in these expansions. It is best as solo or 2. I would not recommend 3 or 4 players. It is a lot more. There's just too much going on when you have 3 or 4. It just gets a little too convoluted, and there's just too much. It's best solo or 2. What I would like to see with Marvel Champions in the future, I mean, it's pretty much inevitable that they're going to release a Civil War, but I would really like to see a versus mode, like a player against, Captain America against Iron Man, or, you could get a villain deck and go face off against somebody else. I would really like to see that with Marvel in the future. I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but if Final Fantasy Flight is listening, really would like to see that. So let's go over to Arkham Horror, the card game. Now these are both 2 completely different games, if I didn't state it before. So Arkham Horror is has more of a narrative experience. Like I stated before, it is constantly growing. It is an expensive game. Each expansion costs about $60 now, but it contains all the scenarios in there. And like back in the day, you had to buy, separate scenarios to complete that expansion, which is a little ridiculous, but it's really good what they did now, that each expansion is going to have all the scenarios in the box. So in Arkham Horror, you pick an investigator, and now again, there's going to be a different investigation in each box. Like this, the base game comes with 3 scenarios. So it's pretty much telling you a story. So you're going to investigate different rooms or different streets depending on where you are. And there's going to be monsters popping up. There's going to be like clues that you have to find to do certain things to get into different areas. And you're going to be when you do combat or other things, like when you're like searching an area, you're going into the bag and pulling out like a pog or see if you succeeded or if you failed. So there's a little more luck based in this, but as you get strong, as the game progresses, as your character progresses, which I'll go over in a bit, there are ways to mitigate that. So what I really love about Arkham Horror is that it is, again, very thematic. It's more thematic than Marvel, if you ask me, but it's also more immersive. You get so involved with this storyline, and it's got this creepy vibe. And again, if you're a big horror fan, if you're a H.P. Lovecraft fan, you're gonna love this because it's just how thematic it is. Another thing I like is the character development is really good in this. Like I said, as you complete scenarios, your character gets stronger. You can add more cards and more weapons to your deck to make it better, and also to help mitigate those random effects when you're pulling out the pogs out of the bag or something, and when either in combat or when you're investigating an area. So, but also what happens with this game is your character can either die or go mad, insane, and then certain things can happen. There could be a different branch off into a different storyline, or then if your character dies, you got to go and select a whole new character and start fresh with that new character if you want. Some people just replay the scenario. I don't like to go that way. I like to, be as thematic as possible. Again, this, like I said before, this is a more story-driven game. So if you want to go more for like story and more immerse yourself into this, into Arkham Horror, definitely go with this game. So, which one is for you? Me personally, I like Marvel Champions the most because it's just, I feel it's more easily, it can be easily tabled. What I didn't mention before is Arkham Horror also plays 1 to 4, but if you're gonna play with 4, you have to buy 2 copies of the base game. So really, 1 and 2 players is best with this. I play this mostly solo. I have yet to play with 2, but from when I've seen people play, they're either playing solo or playing with 2. They won't play with 3 or 4. So yeah, both games best 1 and 2. So, like I was saying before, I prefer Marvel Champions. I think it's just slightly more fun, only because of how easy it is to just pick up and play. Pick a hero, pick a villain, and just lay it out and play. Arkham Horror is a little more set up to it. Again, both games you're gonna need a nice storage unit for both. Hobby Lobby has some great cases. I got for Arkham Horror, I have the Return To. They call the Return To boxes that save everything in there. They're really nice and sleek. But now, again, the expansions are coming all in one box. Same thing with Marvel Champions. There's some great organizers on Etsy. If you feel like spending the money, you also got to put it together, which can be a hassle. It wasn't too bad for me, but both games are going to need some serious storage solutions if you plan on purchasing one or the other. Can you own both? Absolutely, but as I stated before, they're both really expensive. You can easily dedicate your time to both of them, but if you feel like only spending money dishing out all your hard-earned cash on one of them, I would say Marvel Champions if you're, a Marvel fan, if you want, a more easier game to hit the table, and I guess even more accessible to other players. Like if you're just with a friend who's done a play, hey, you want to play Marvel Champions? You can pick it up and go. The thing with Arkham Horror, because it's so story-driven, you kind of want to play with the same person over and over again. But if you're more into the horror theme, which I am, and you're more into that more story-driven, that character development, this feels a little more RPG-ish, then I would definitely go with Arkham Horror. Again, I went with both of them because I'm a nut job. But yeah, I still have to get more of the expansions for Arkham Horror. I do play Marvel Champions a lot more. But because Arkham Horror is just that setup in the beginning, it's just, that's the reason why I haven't tabled it as much. But yeah, you can't go wrong with either one. These are both 10 out of 10s for me. They're really that freaking good. But yeah, and another thing I'm gonna bring up, in perfect Fantasy Flight fashion, both these rulebooks are really a little convoluted because I don't know what it is with Fantasy Flight. They just don't make good rulebooks. I mean, they're okay, but if you're going to learn how to play, I highly recommend the videos on YouTube or online somewhere, because I always have a hard time with Fantasy Flight's rulebooks. They're like all over the place, and they're always adding new rules and such, so you can always go on YouTube. The BGG forums always keep up to date with the rules for both these games. But yeah, so if you're more into that quick, more combat-driven game, go with Marvel Champions. If you're more into the immersive story, RPG, and horror, go with Arkham Horror, the Guard game. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. I always take the time to answer every single one of you. Please like and subscribe. Help this little channel grow. Been doing this for almost 2 years now, so kind of hoping to build it up more this year, and do more videos like this. I'll get better equipment, then I could do playthroughs or playthroughs of both these games. I would love to, and live stream them. But that's gonna do it for today, guys. Like I said, like, subscribe, push that little bell to keep notifications on, and you know, just keep on playing. And that's gonna do it for today. Until next time, have a great one, guys.